Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the new digs. I actually moved my home computer and all that stuff to my house because I wanted to be able to do a show and not have to leave, like if I feel like having a beer or something like that. So that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, how you guys doing? It's been a while, right? I don't know what 10? No, what's today? Friday. So 9 days since I've done a live stream. Pretty crazy, right? I told you. The live streams are not going to be that many. Well, I take that back. They may be more, but they'll be exclusively somewhere. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Today's going to be a long show. We're going to talk about everything that's happened over the past week. And my gosh, I try to go on a camping trip with my family, and look what transpires. The world just goes nuts. I mean, that's essentially what's happened from the Bud Light saga to the Mr. Beast saga to classified documents being leaked saga to, Biden is in Ireland for some reason saga, to more mass shootings, everything that's been transpiring. It's just absolutely crazy. And we're going to talk about all of it. But first, I want to tell you guys about how I feel like I have a new appreciation for America, right? So many of you guys know we went on this week-long camping trip with my kids, and it wasn't a week long. We actually came back a day early for a variety of reasons. But we headed out from here, stayed down in Kentucky for 3 nights, and then North Carolina at a state park that was beautiful for a couple of days. The state park, I forgot what it was called now. It was by some big national forest. And, we just hung out, and had a lot of fun. I shot some guns and, rode some dirt bikes at a family members in Kentucky and nearly died on the dirt bike. And I've been riding motorcycles a long time. But again, when you put a bunch of Oatleys in a room, we obviously want to compete with each other. And I lost at shooting because I'm not like a special forces soldier, like they are. So, but I think I beat him in the bow archery, beat him that. And then, so of course, when it came to time to do dirt bikes around his big, long, property, I went ham. I tried to go. And I'll tell you what, I spun out his little 230cc Kawasaki, spun it out and nearly died. Cut my leg pretty good. It actually punctured my leg. It didn't cut it, punctured it on the foot peg. And one of my like, I think if it was caught on video, I would probably look like someone that was trying to ride a bull because that's essentially what happened. Is I was like, he's like, all right, I'm gonna time it, and he's got his watch out, and he's like, all right, go, and I just went man with the throttle, and my other hand came off, and then my feet came off, and so I'm trying to steer a bike, and if you ever know anything about motorcycles, when you pull on the throttle and you only have one hand and you're giving it way too much throttle. Yeah. So it was crazy, but luckily it was downhill a little bit. I did at one point I came to the conclusion that I was going to crash horribly doing about 40 miles an hour with no safety gear on or anything. I figured that was a good possibility, but somehow, he intervened and I was able to get my other hand on, and then I gave him the big, and then continued to try to race as much as I could to get around the score. And then, of course, he did what my time was unbeatable, even with me almost dying. So he refused to race me after that. So whatever. But it was good to see all my family out there. And like I said, with the marksman challenge, I don't even know how far we were, maybe 100 yards. I couldn't hit shit. Even with his little 22 or his bigger gun, I don't know what the fuck it was. I'm a handgun guy. I don't have any rifles. I think it shot 5.56, so whatever hunting rifle would shoot 5.56, and it wasn't an AR-15. But I challenged him to hit the smaller target and challenge a Marine, see what happens. They hit it and made the target like wrap around because with such force. But I didn't want to sprawl out on the ground. I was tired anyway. Here's the thing: when you do as much driving as we did on this trip, it hurt. Every time you got up and tried to stand out and all that stuff, it hurt. Some of you guys have commented on the sunburn. Yeah, I can't tell if if I'm still very sunburned. I definitely have color, or if it's just my lights are too bright, so it's making my face turn red. Because when it's on the other monitor, it doesn't look as red, but I'm seeing what you guys see, and I appear pretty red. And also today, I was out shoveling the garden for my wife because the boys are weak. You know, I don't know what happened to them, like where the apple fell from the tree on that one, but they apparently freak out when bugs are out. And we live it's not really the woods, but we have trees and grass and shit around us. And so there's a lot of bugs. and and yeah, they don't like it. Like my other son the other day, because he has to go pick up poop on the outside of the house. So he has to walk around and pick up poop. And the other day he had or what do you have? He had cotton balls in his ears. He had like a ski mask. I don't know what you call it. Like what all the kids wore during COVID. Like one of those masks on over his face, and he kept pulling his shirt up over that too. He looked like a goofball. And then the little guy had a little gnat or something that got into his ear, and we had to try to take it off with take it out with a Q-tip. So yeah, it's been kind of fun. It's been I had a tremendous amount of fun on the trip. I think towards the end I started getting a little irritable, which is what happens when I'm away from everything for so long. I wanted to talk about the news. Of course, I'm with my wife, so I can't really talk about politics or anything like that if I want to have a good trip. So yeah, it was fun. It was nice to see the highway. It was nice to see the roads. We only encountered one asshole, and that was in North Carolina. It wasn't Bristol. I don't know where. It was by this big state park. And we pulled into an Ingles. And if you're unfamiliar with what an Ingles is, an Ingles is a huge grocery store that has like everything in it. It kind of reminded me of like a Walmart / Target / Whole Foods / whatever else it would be, a huge grocery store. But anyway, we pulled in with the motorhome in front of the Ingles, and I'm like, this thing's big. The parking lot's pretty big. I saw this someone backed out and left open like 5 parking spots. So I was like, great, I'm going to park my RV there. But again, I was already a little irritable, and all that good stuff. So I pulled the RV there, and as I'm putting it in the park, I hear someone honk their horn. Before my wife knew what was going on, I ran around the side of the RV, and I'm like, did you just honk at me? And he was like, yes, but I was just making sure you knew you were good to park. And then he's like, so where are you guys going? And I'm like, we're going camping. Obviously, we got a motorhome. What are you talking about? And he's like, all right, have a good trip, and drove away. And then I came back to the car, and I'm like, there is absolutely no way I wouldn't have punched that guy if it was a younger guy. I was mad, honking at us when I don't know what it was. I don't know why I got so mad. I think it was just because I was in the car for several hours. Actually, that day was a 6-hour trip. So 2 dogs, 2 boys, my wife, and yeah, so and we were right there too. We were like 9 miles away from the campground we were going to. So, but yeah, I mean, the trip was real fun. I went on a hike. I don't hike at all. That's why I'm sunburned. But I went on a hike, and it was fun. I got to take naps and stuff that I don't typically do during the day. So it was a lot of fun. And I encourage everyone, if you have the time, we stayed at mostly state parks the entire time. We stayed at one like commercial campground. Every other time was state parks, and we had never stayed with a motorhome in state parks, but it was fun. It was fun. You get to see a lot. There's a lot to do. Granted, the kids were kind of bored, but I went on a hike. I mean, my wife was in heaven. She's like, oh my God, my husband's hiking. And I do have some photos and video that we took along the way, and I'll put those out at some point. Someone said, you went to one in Swananoona near Asheville. Yeah, we were close to Asheville. We were with the national forest that we stayed at, and maybe some of you guys will know. We were, I think 30 minutes or so from Asheville, North Carolina. Like south, maybe. I don't know. There's a big national forest there. That's where we were. And Asheville is not, it is what you would think it is, a big hippie fest. We didn't go into Asheville, but we could see it, and then we had thoughts of maybe stopping in Louisville. And then I was like, maybe not not the best idea because they do know who I am there. But yeah, I had fun during the trip. I don't want to do it again anytime soon. I'd rather just drive, in a car or something like that because the motorhome's big. It takes too long. The camping is fun, but yeah, I probably won't do it again, but it was fun. Someone said, "Did I stop at a Bucky's?" No, I didn't stop at a Bucky's. I think there was only one. They're building one somewhere else where we were, but it's not done. And we did see one, and I pointed to it from the highway because I'm like, "Holy shit, that's a gas station. It's huge." Because it looked like a truck stop, to be honest. They had like 4 rows of gas stations or like gas pumps. It was crazy. Anyway, so that was basically my trip for the most part. We got back super late Wednesday night. We actually just drove straight back. So I think it was it took us 8 hours to get back rather than doing another night camping. We had a bunch of other stuff going on. I knew I wanted to try to get all the computer stuff situated here in the house and just do what I needed to do with the store and try to get, a grasp on the coffee orders and stuff like that. So, that's what working. If you have ventured over to Pure Truth Coffee and checked out the coffee tab, you probably are quite surprised because we added a ton of new roasts. We have K-Cups there. We have a bunch, single origin coffee, a shit ton of flavored coffee. What I ended up doing is partnering with another roaster that we've been working with. We actually carried their coffee for a little bit, but I wanted to find a way to simplify our coffee side. And I did that. So you'll see also some of our coffee selections are a little bit different. The originals are down to 5 of the originals. So Wake Up America, pardon my French, Flying High, I believe. And obviously our 2 flavored ones are available now. But those will fade out. We'll always carry Awake Not Woke. We'll always carry Wake Up America, and we'll always carry Flying High. But we have everything else. So we have so much, so many different flavor. We got whiskey flavored coffee. We got everything. So go check it out, puretruthcoffee.com. And then, all right, so let's get into the brass tacks of this. Now, you guys may have seen the brass tacks of the news is what I'm trying to say. One of the things you may or may not have seen in this chat earlier is a Rumble link. Everybody that's not watching on Rumble, you're going to want to watch on Rumble because in exactly 13 minutes and 20 or 35 seconds from right now, the live stream is going to stop on all other social media pages. And we're going to go live on Rumble. And this is the way I'm going to do it from now on. Granted, I won't be talking about a coffee trip or a camping trip for the first half an hour, but I want to drive people to a platform that actually respects creators. And so that's what we're going to be doing. It's not negotiable. So if you don't have a Rumble account, you can watch later. This will be put out as a full audio podcast probably tomorrow as well. So you can listen that way. But if you typically watch on YouTube or you watch on Facebook or something like that, you're going to want to migrate to Rumble at about 8:30 because we're going to be switching over to Rumble exclusively at 8:30 Eastern, where, we'll continue talking. One of the first news stories that I wanted to talk about, it's kind of because it's breaking now. There's been so many breaking news stories over the past week. It's kind of hard to keep track of everything that has been going on. But in the past week alone, there's been some big stories. One of the biggest stories, and I think it actually started to happen before I even left. But that was the story about Bud Light, right? About Bud Light putting Dylan or Derek or whatever Mulvaney's, the dude that wants to be a girl, right? And that dude that wants to be a girl has been in the news forever, although they didn't want to be a girl a couple of years ago, but now they want to be a girl. So, and they're, trying to oh God, I don't even care. And I'm on social media, so I'm going to be nice. Anyway, Budweiser put out a commemorative can for the 1-year womanhood anniversary for this person that wants to be a girl. The 1-year womanversary, and they made a can for it, which obviously there's been grave backlash against that from conservatives and political pundits and all that stuff, right? And of course, Anheuser-Busch, who owns Bud Light, has Well, and it's funny because you see a lot of people that don't understand beer and don't understand Anheuser-Busch is a huge company and has a tremendous amount of beers under their label that they own that are not Budweiser. And so I've seen some posts from conservatives where they're like, "Oh, we're boycotting Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch," and then they're like, "From now on, there's no Bud in this fridge," and then they open it up and it's full of Anheuser-Busch's other beers, which is so stupid because like at least if you're gonna do that, you're only doing that for kicks anyway. You're not you're yeah, it's just stupid. And Budweiser tastes like ass too. Like I see Brian Holt said, LOLF, I'm drinking it. Budweiser sucks. Like I don't care who, like regular Budweiser is okay, but Bud Light is literally what I've commonly referred to as unicorn piss. Well, that actually makes it sound like it's good. So let's go with raccoon piss. That's what it tastes like to me. It sucks. But anyway, like Kid Rock went out and shot a bunch of Bud Light and said that he's not going to have it at any of his tours. A lot of touring musicians have done the same thing, saying, we're not going to have it at any of our events, which is great. I mean, I don't really like cancel culture too much. A lot of you guys disagree with it because it's not cancel culture. To you, it's boycotting or not boycotting. It's just making a choice and broadcasting your choice not to buy it. I make a habit to not buy shitty beer, so I don't have to worry about not drinking Budweiser because it's shitty beer, so I just don't drink it. And I know I'm probably offending at least 5 or 10 of you guys, and it's fine. I don't care. Your taste in beer sucks. But what's funny about it is the massive amount of backlash that this has caused Budweiser. So many bars are getting rid of Budweiser. So many and Anheuser-Busch products in general. So many musicians are canceling on their tours or canceling out of their riders, and in so many different things. That Anheuser-Busch lost billions of dollars in sales, billions of dollars in sales. So, and this is why I started off with this story, because it's just coming out that Anheuser-Busch has put out a statement today, and it's like doubling. It's not even an apology. I don't know what it is. Not that they even have to apologize, because I believe a business has a right to make whatever decisions, no matter how stupid they are. A business has the right to make whatever decisions they need in order to make themselves happy. Do you know what I mean? Just like if a dude wants to wear his dress, whatever. I don't care. I've never understood why so many people care about any of this. Like, this is just, to me, at this point, I find it entertaining. I find it entertaining that all this shit's going on. And excluding some things like the Mr. Beast shit we'll talk about on Rumble. So you don't want to miss my take on that. But Anheuser-Busch, through their CEO, I think his name's Bill Wentworth, Brendan Wentworth, sorry. He put out a statement, and he said, as the CEO of a company founded in America's heartland more than 165 years ago, I'm responsible for ensuring every customer feels proud of the beer we brew. We're honored to be a part of the fabric of this country. Anheuser-Busch employs more than 18,000 people, and our independent distributors employ additional 47,000 valued colleagues. We have thousands of partners, millions of fans, and a proud history supporting our communities, military, first responders, sports fans, and hardworking Americans everywhere. We never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people. We are in the business of bringing people together over a beer. And then he goes on to say, my time serving this country taught me the importance of accountability and the values of which America was founded: freedom, hard work, and respect for one another. As the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, I am focused on building and protecting our remarkable history and heritage. He says he cares deeply about this country, the company, our brands, and our partners. He spends much of his time traveling across America, he says, listening to and learning from our customers, distributors, and others. And then he ends it by saying, moving forward, I will continue to work tirelessly to bring great beers to consumers across our nation. So a lot of people are like saying, well, that's not a fucking apology. That, like, you don't even know what that is. That's like I'm who I am and I'm going to say what I want. You're not going to do shit, and please stop canceling us. Kind of, statement. It's what this seems more is like. It's like saying, hey, if you cancel this, you're going to affect upwards of 60,000 people because we're going to end up having to do layoffs or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's funny because there's also news coming out about Anheuser-Busch's CEO. And then everything else. And then like the conspiracy wheels start turning in people's minds because Brendan Whitworth, who's the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, is a relatively young guy, which is kind of funny. He's I mean, he's actually older than I thought. He just looks younger. Anyway, his rise to CEO is like something for the movies. Like, to be honest, he went from public sector work, 13 years ago, right? No, 14, 17 years ago, he was in public sector work, and we'll talk about what it was in a second, to private work in senior director positions, to vice president positions, and then to CEO of Anheuser-Busch in 17 years. Right? He was a Marine, so you got to give him that. Decorated Marine, or I guess he was decorated. He says he got an award. According to his LinkedIn profile, he says he led a platoon of over 70 Marines and managed a staff of 8 senior non-commissioned officers, awarded Navy Achievement Medal for exceptional service and performance. But he was only in the Marines for 3 years, from 1998 to 2001, when he joined the Central Intelligence Agency. Yes, the Anheuser-Busch CEO, the one who I guess personally signed off on releasing a Budweiser can named after or to commemorate the false womanhood of a dude that wants to dress up as a woman and live his life as a woman. The dude that put all that out is a CIA officer, or was rather, right, for 5 years. With a specialty in recruitment and handling of human sources, with access to vital intelligence that prevented and disrupted terrorist threats. It's freaking crazy, dude. Why is it that so many, yeah, I know. This is why I say the conspiracy wheels turn. Because there's so many different people out there that are in positions of power, positions of influence, that used to previously work for the CIA, that are now like CEOs of tech companies, or CEOs of beer companies, or CEOs of other companies. It's just very funny to me. And I'll be honest, though, I wasn't surprised. I thought I would be surprised, but I wasn't surprised. I saw it first, especially because I saw that right after I saw the apology letter, the statement that took them a week and a half to put out after ruining their brand. I wasn't surprised, though. When I started seeing it online, I was like, let me verify it. And, it is. It's right there on LinkedIn where he is. He went from being a first lieutenant in the Marine Corps to operations officer, counterterrorism center, clandestine service, to this is the crazy part, too. He went from the CIA as, specializing in the recruitment and handling of human sources, to the senior director of sales for Pepsi. Like, wow. Like, what do you do with the CIA that they kicked you out? Or you could say, well, he's a senior director, right, of Pepsi, which is crazy. And then he worked there for 5 years and then was the global director of sales for Anheuser-Busch in 2013, global vice president of tech sales in 2015, vice president in 2015 to 17, and then it just goes on until he becomes CEO. And I don't know how long he's been CEO. But I just think it's very funny. I think it's very weird that so many people that have experience in the clandestine services are leading big companies and doing things that are just stupid. You know what I mean? Like this. Let's be honest. This Bud Light thing, it was the worst thing you could do for a business. From a business perspective, because you know who your drinkers are. Do you know what I mean? You know who your beer drinkers are. You know who consumes your alcohol. So in order to, why anybody thought this was a good idea is way beyond me. I don't know. And again, does it offend me? No, because I don't drink that shit water, raccoon water, as we called it before. I don't like it. It doesn't taste that good. I've had to drink it in a pinch when I have no other beer, but it is what it is. It's not my thing. I know other people, and I'm fond of other people that drink Bud Light every single day, and I have no idea why they do it because it doesn't taste that good. And they don't watch this show, so that's fine. Whereas other people, like a Budweiser, I'll drink a Budweiser. But I like IPAs, and I don't really Budweiser is like that safe beer that you can have a couple of beers with. You don't have to worry about getting drunk because it's so watered down, and so you can still relax. Normally you want like an IPA or something that's like 7% alcohol or 9% alcohol or something, so you get a little buzz going. But yeah, when you're out and you're like, I don't know if I want to be here. I may have to drive later, so I'll just drink Budweiser. That's what that is. I hate that beer, and it's not really a loss that is happening. But that's that. That's the first story of the day. Now, this is going to be the part that sucks for everybody else. Everybody needs to go to Rumble, okay? Because in 3 minutes, the show continues over there, and we have so much more to talk about. But so make sure you go over to Rumble right now.